reason they won't ever stand up against the total takeover, because they think the end of the world's next week.
Well, I agree. This is a problem. It's something that, you know, I struggle with a lot of my Christian friends who have that, you know, kind of a benign, benevolent apathy that God's in charge and therefore we don't have to worry. Well, you may not have to worry about your salvation if you're born again, if you're committed to Christ, but you will fear in the last days, because I'm a belief that there's never been any time in history that God has not put his own people through the fire of adversity in order to strengthen them, to make them stronger. This earth is a test life. It's to test ourselves, to see how we will you know, respond to the promptings of the Spirit of the Lord as it guides us through difficult times. And I personally think that we're going to go through the tribulation. I don't believe in the Cadillac rapture that saves us while we're still in good times in the freeway. I think prior to the second coming, which I do believe in, I believe prior to the second coming, people on the earth will be crying day and night for deliverance, that there will be war upon this planet, and only the intervention of God sending his son again the second time will stop Satan's wholesale control of the world.
So how does it work? They stage a nuclear war, and then the Anglo-American establishment tries to take over the planet with the Antichrist?
Yes, I believe that they're going to come out of their bunkers after this war starts with a nuclear strike on military targets, and they're going to say, you know, the Russians and Chinese deceived us. We didn't know this was coming. That's a lie, of course. But sometimes, and they'll say the only way to save ourselves now is to join in a militarized New World Order with a League of Democracies, or some of the new euphemistic sounding name for United Nations. NATO will probably become the shock troops of the United Nations. We'll bring out our secret weapon systems that we've been developing, not use them to protect the United States, but use them to militarize this world army. And during this war, I think you'll see the government turn on its own people and say, you know, there are people among us that are not supporting this war, not supporting our troops, that complain that we, the government, knew this was happening, that we're part of the problem. Those people need to be rounded up, and we call upon all Americans.
No, exactly. The New World Order will use it to go after their own domestic groups that aren't evil, and they'll use it to take over the planet. That's exactly what they do.
That's right. And at some point, you know, it ends up with a battle of Armageddon. There's going to be a major conflict in the Middle East that will, and I don't think the current conflict, even the attack on Iran, will lead directly to World War III. I think North Korea is being preserved as the trigger event for that war, and that China and Russia aren't ready yet. And so I think, but one thing that the further intervention in the Middle East will do, as it's being done here in Syria and then Iran, it will solidify our reputation as the bully of the world, handing to Russia and China the excuse to attack the West someday.
You know what really, why I know God's real and all this is real, not just personal experiences and discernment. When I study the globalists, they are all, at the final equation, Luciferians. Well, how is there not a Lucifer if the establishment wants us to be atheists, so we don't even know this game's going on, and then the top people, they know Lucifer's in charge. They believe Lucifer's given them power. All these globalists, when you really look into what they believe, they think they've been given power by Lucifer.